Okay.
See Liz too.
All right, so it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. The first thing on the agenda is approve of the minutes of 3/7/2024. And we do have a quorum.
Yep, everybody.
Yep. So Liz's background looked like it was a cruise ship or something.
The inside of a building where I work.
Oh, okay. It had cruise ship kind of looks there with a spiral staircase. And
Yeah.
okay, the minutes of March 7th. Anybody have any editorial comments, changes?
They look great.
No changes, very comprehensive.
All right, so do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of March 7th, 2024?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor by roll call vote?
Oh, do you need me to do that?
Yes, yeah, just call the
Sorry.
names. Yeah.
Okay. Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Pasamato.
Yes. Okay. Next up, we have requests for determination of applicability for Spring Meadow Drive, map 2, lot 73, removal and replacement of an in-kind of existing drainage pipe. In accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Southfield Wetlands Bylaw, the Southfield Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, March 28th, 2024 at 7 p.m. by a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a request for determination of applicability for a project located at 4 Spring Meadow Drive, map 2, lot 73, for the applicant and owner, Brian Roth. The project description is removal and replacement in kind of existing draining pipe. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you to the Conservation Commission for taking the time.
Certainly, do you have a overview or presentation you would like to go through?
Yeah, I'm happy to give a quick overview of the project. I'm the homeowner. My wife and I purchased the home back in May of 2022, so coming up on 2 years now. And during rainstorms over the past couple of years, living here, we've had a water intrusion into our crawl space. Flooding. Today's a great example of that, I think, as well as in our backyard. And we had a contractor come out to kind of do some investigation work to look at the site and everything. And they found this old drainage pipe in our backyard that they think is there to relieve the hydrostatic pressure against the foundation of our home. And it's been clogged up over the years with debris and everything. So we'd like to hopefully replace it.
Okay. Joe, did you have a look at this from Lucas Environmental?
Yes, I did. Couple of comments. I did note that the wetlands at the site, as shown on the sketch plan that was submitted, were very approximate, and I did see some old flagging out there. Subsequent to my site visit, a site plan was submitted, I think from 2022, I believe, that does show a delineation, and it looks, without actually looking at the actual flags, the delineation on that plan looks reasonable, and those are probably the flags that I did see out there. The flags that I did see looked appropriate. I saw maybe 3 or 4 of those flags when I was at the site. Also noted that the location of the pipe itself is also very approximate. So I think the work would involve, looking for that pipe a little bit, and may involve the upper end of that pipe being within a wetland finger, a BBW. It's a swale. So that may actually be partially within the upper end of that swale, which could involve a small amount of impact. I also noted that the portion of the pipe under the roadbed was apparently had already been removed. I think Melissa was aware of this, based on my conversation with the property owner. And there was, erosion control barrier, in place and, no, problems with any erosion, that I observed. The application also noted that it may not be subject to the bylaw as under an exemption. However, under the Wetlands Protection Act, that exemption does not exist, so it would definitely be covered under the Wetland Protection Act. Commission to discuss whether the drainage pipe would be considered an appurtenance to the structure under the bylaw. I don't know how the commission has found on those instances before. I had noted that the filing fee and the fee calculation sheet and the submission checklist had not been submitted. Apparently those were submitted, but not in the electronic copy. So those have been submitted. And I think that pretty much covers my comments.
All right, thank you. So is there any questions or comments from the commission members? Ben, if you're going to talk, you're on mute.
Nothing at this time. Thanks.
All right, anyone else?
So I just want to understand the project. It's removing a pipe and replacing it. Is that the plan? And in order to do it, you don't know exactly where the pipe is, so it may involve more digging. Is that, if you could describe it a little better, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, that's correct. So we know that the pipe exists in, that area. And the plan is to remove it as they find it, as it's plugged up, basically. And yeah, there is a possibility that it extends to the upper end of that swale that was mentioned.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you have any kind of sense how deeply the pipe is buried? I know it sounds like you can see both ends more or less. I get the impression it's not particularly deep. Is that correct?
Yeah, from what the contractor told me, it's between 2 and 3 feet.
Okay. Yeah. And the contractor is a site work contractor, a landscaper?
So it's Scott Septic, so it's a septic company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're quite familiar with installing erosion controls and
Exactly.
keeping a clean site. Okay.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Yeah, one thing I should also note is that as shown on the sketch plan, the riprap shown at the outlet of the pipe may actually be in the wetland, and so that should probably should be ensured that that's not placed in the wetland, but should be outside the wetland boundary.
That's the riprap apron from
The riprap
pipe.
apron at the outlet, it's shown on the sketch plan is right down to the edge of the small stream there. And there is a BVW fringe on that stream.
Okay. And the inlet of this pipe is against the foundation as a perimeter drain, it's believed.
It's not totally clear. It could just be somewhere in the swale or like right up against the edge of our backyard too. Yeah, that would be part of the investigation.
Okay. So I believe in this area across the street, there's I don't know, Joe, if you went across the street and looked and investigated anything around this, but I think there's a stream that goes underground. It makes its way under Spring Meadow Road. And travels, sort of in the underground aquifer to get to the other side where the stream is. I'm just wondering if this pipe is part of that. We probably don't know.
I don't think that this pipe is a part of any, does not convey any stream, from what I could tell it. I think it's likely just something through the yard from that upper swale, and not connecting to an upradiant stream. I would think if it was a stream coming through there, there would be flow breaking out at the end where the work had been done, I would imagine.
Because the stream leaves, sort of the development that's across the street from the Finn School Mooney Field, that neighborhood back there. And kind of traverses along and then just disappears in the ground. It makes its way underneath Spring Meadow Road and comes out on the other side of those homes. So, okay. So what is the commission thinking here? This was a request of determination of applicability.
I guess for my part, because it's a replacement in kind in the same location, I think we could condition a negative determination specifically with regards to erosion controls, to give us some comfort and allow them to go forward.
And we also have the riprap moved back out of the wetland as well.
Another possible alternative there would be, I'm assuming you're gonna be using some kind of plastic pipe, probably like an ADS product or something. You can get a flared end to put on that. That's will still provide some scour protection, but it's a little bit less intrusive than the riprap. Or you can pull the whole works back to keep it out of the wetland entirely if you're going to go with the riprap.
Was that a flared end? Is that what you?
Yeah. They clamp right to the. They're made by the same company that makes ADS pipe. They clamp right to the end.
Okay, I'll make a note about that.
And so either is fine. I think the flared end is a little less intrusive in a situation like this where you're right up against the wetland. That's all.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, well, Mr. Smith, you want to make a motion?
Sure. Move that we issue a negative determination of applicability with conditions, following conditions. One, that the pipe is going to be replaced in the same location with a pipe with the same diameter. That erosion controls be placed around between all areas of excavation and down gradient wetlands, and be left there until 80% vegetative cover is established after the work is done, and that the wetland end of the pipe be pulled back so that both the end and scour protection associated with it are outside of the wetland itself.
Okay, do I hear a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, all in favor by roll call vote?
Aye.
You're up, Lara.
I know what you mean. Zulik. wait,
He's still
aye.
lurking. Zulik,
Yes.
Farrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Pasamato.
Yes. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank-
Okay, let's see, next up, 710, notice of intent, 77 Deerfoot Road. This is for the demolition of a one-story sunroom and deck, construction of a two-bay garage addition and deck. So let's see, my understanding with respect to this public hearing is that the abutters list was not 100% accurate, so there's been some work done, some activity to remedy that. And we also have not received a DEP number as of this, so I'm going to open the hearing. And then we need to move forward to set a continuance to 4/18 for a set date and time so that we can move forward in this. Okay, so in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the Southborough Conservation Commission will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, March 28, 2024 at 7:10 p.m. by a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider notice of intent for a project located at 77 Deerfoot Road, map 34, lot 1, for the applicant and owners Ellen and Michael Moorhead. The project description is a demolition of a one-story sunroom and deck and construction of a two-bay garage and deck. So the hearing is now open. So my understanding is that the abutter list was missing some abutter contact within the required 7-day notice. I understand that the applicant has since I think as recent as yesterday sent notifications to those abutters for this, but by legal guidance we need to set the meeting with a new notification to 4/18 to a new time or to a time, and the suggestion is that time be 7 p.m. Any discussion?
Sorry, Mark, the homeowners are here
Okay.
if you want me to bring them over.
Yeah, and Joe, you have had a opportunity to look at the filing for this, the application.
I have, correct.
Okay, and you've provided some commentary.
I have.
Okay.
Mark, may I interrupt real quickly? I'm just concerned that because of the notification issue, we're going to have to recreate any deliberation that takes place at this meeting. We're going to have to recreate at the next meeting. This is per the guidance of Jay Tollerman and standard practice with these. My recommendation would be that we continue the hearing without undertaking any deliberation. I just will point out that this will not impact, because of the lack of a DEP number, this will not impact the schedule of getting this project approved at all. We wouldn't have been able to take any action tonight anyhow. I just want to make sure we do it in the way suggested to us by town council.
Correct, and thank you for that, Ben. I would just add that any of the commentary that Lucas Environmental has provided with respect to their review, that the applicants, should they have received that, they take that into consideration and take any action that may or may not have been in there for the next hearing so that we can move this through in an expedited manner. So with that, I understand that the applicant is here, but unfortunately, we cannot deliberate on this because of the missing components with respect to the application.
Hi, everybody. This is Michael Moorhead. We're the owners of the property. Is there no discussion that could take place
There is not.
on this? Because I would argue that I was given the wrong list of abutters for the project by the town. And here on the technicality, because our two neighbors that are across the street are not informed that this can't go forward tonight, even after deliberation and confirmation with COMCOM agent.
That's one aspect of it. The other is we do not have a DEP number.
And how do we get a DEP number? And why don't we have a DEP number? We filed this with the DEP on March 10th and with the town on March 11th. How do I obtain a DEP number?
Well, so that's with the state. We've contacted them a number of times over the last few days, trying to receive that, and we've not yet received it. You know, this happens from time to time. And when this happens, we cannot, you know, move forward and have a deliberation and close the hearing.
So it's
So-
unfortunate. What I would like to not have happen is get to 418 and find out there's a whole litany of things that you want us to do to a plan. That is simply on paper. We're just in the 200-foot riverfront area. None of this work is taking anywhere near 150 feet of the brook.
Yeah, so again, we can't have any technical conversation with respect to this application, but I would highly encourage you to take the commentary that Lucas Environmental has provided. I think that commentary was provided either yesterday or the day before,
I have it.
and provide, you know, responses to that for that 418 meeting, so that we can move this through quickly.
And so any updates to the documentation, is that going to come back to you? Or Laura, I guess, does that go back to the Concom? Like, can I
It
provide
does.
new files?
It does, and it needs to come back to us a week prior to the 418 meeting.
Is it a new filing, or is it simply something that we can take care of? I mean, as we're doing here?
Well, you need to just, you know, modify your documents if there is any issues associated with them. And again, I can't get into details, but Lucas Environmental has provided commentary back to, you know, against the application or a response to the application that you provided. So, you know, read through those steps and things that he's provided you guidance on, and then respond to those. And, you know, we should be able to, you know, I would expect move quickly on this at the next hearing.
I have a question as it pertains to the DEP number. As stated, we did submit that on March 10th. Here we are, March 28th, still no DEP number. Typically, how long does it take from date of submittal to have a DEP number issued?
It varies depending on how busy they are. You know,
Okay, so what would be best case, worst case timeframe?
I don't have any data on that.
And do we as homeowners have any ability to reach out to the state directly, or are we solely relying on Concom to reach out?
No, you're certainly welcome to reach out to them and, you know, tell them about, you know, they have your information based on, you know, your application. You can reach out to them and say, hey, you know, what's taking so long? You know,
Yeah,
you know,
they also have our money.
they're public servants, and
Yep.
you know, you can ask them.
So there could be a chance that by the time we get to 418 that we still do not have that number. Is that correct?
I highly doubt that, but you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it's never really taken, you know, 2 months. But you know, I can't guarantee they'll have the number. Sometimes we receive the number 15 minutes before our public hearing meeting.
Okay. And Lara, when was the last time you reached out to them?
Yesterday I emailed them and I heard back from them today from Mia McDonald. And she said that she is getting in touch with the DEP analyst that's assigned to your application. So they're working on it, but I don't have an actual number filed yet.
Okay, and you said her name was Mia
McDonald.
And did she provide you with the name of the analyst that's working on our file?
No, she did not.
Okay.
So you're perfectly welcome to reach out to her directly at
Okay.
DEP.
Yep, we will.
Can you share the contact info, Laura?
So,
I guess
Okay.
just one last thing in regards to Ellie's comments. We are obviously very eager to get this project started. We're obviously going to work diligently through those comments and make whatever changes and suggestions that Ellie has provided. We want to make sure that by the time we get to April 18th, that there are still no changes or suggestions, because we want to be able to use between now and April 18th, the next 3 weeks, to be able to get through those comments, remedy them, and we're gonna need the guidance to do that. So do we rely on Lara and Melissa? Do we rely on Lucas? What is the best way to make sure that we satisfy all of those suggestions?
So if you have questions with respect to the commentaries that Lucas Environmental has provided, you are encouraged to work through our conservation office to contact Lucas Environmental directly to have that conversation, to understand the details and remedy of those situations,
Mhm.
right? And you should do that over the next, 2 weeks. Right, so that
Okay.
when we get to 418, we're got any complications or issues, technical things resolved. That's very, very common with applications and working with our consultants.
And through the
Okay,
chair, I
thank
just want to reiterate that should go through the commission, and
Yes.
not directly to me. Yeah,
Correct.
Understood.
Yeah, I did mention
Okay.
through the conservation office.
you
Yeah.
did.
All right, so with
Okay,
that,
sorry, I just have one last question as it relates to the new abutters list that was given to us. So I just want to be very clear and make sure that no mistakes are made. We are basically sending for the second time the same letter to the same people.
With a new date.
There is no
Well-
date on the notification letter.
There's no date on the notification letter. There's no indication of a public
Got it.
meeting date
Yeah,
on the note, on the letter. It's only the advertisement in the Metro West
My
Daily News.
apologies.
so
So-
that's
so-
what we're
So
doing. We're
we don't want to get
sending-
tripped up on that again.
Yeah.
How to,
Yeah, so we're sending a
they'll have,
second letter for the second time to the same people.
there'll be a new advertisement in the paper,
Mhm.
for this. So the list of the same people is the same people because yesterday, the day before, the inclusion was those that were left off the original list. Right, so unfortunately, this comes down to, which box that got checked with respect to the abutters list that was needed. So,
and the lack of confirmation from Concom, I will say, I mean, we put on there what we were looking for the abutter list for, and we were provided an abutter list. We have a 200-foot riverfront.
I mean, I don't want to get
Conservation
into a debate over this.
Understood,
Right, so
but
so
that's we're up
the
against.
box
yeah.
that should have been checked, should have been conservation, 100 feet, not other.
And
It's a technicality, I understand, but that's how the office that provides the abutters list responded to.
And there's no process in which the assessor's office confirms that the right box is checked with the Concom, with Lara and Melissa. There's no communication between the two offices to make sure that the request that's actually being requested is accurate.
That's a detail that I have no idea. I think they're responding to, whatever's been asked for.
Lara, can you comment on that? Is there any communication between you and the assessor's office when those requests are made to make sure that the list is accurate for what's being requested?
Not typically, because there are usually only two options for conservation, and one is stormwater and the other is everything that's not stormwater. So that is kind of the only difference between applications when it comes to a butter notification. So anything that falls under the Wetlands Protection Act falls under the General Conservation Commission abutters list.
Okay, so you're trusting residents who never do this to check the right box. Okay.
Well, or go in and take the paper and go out to the conservation office.
We did.
Ask
We
them and
did.
show them.
We
We're gonna
did.
check this box.
We did.
We
They
did.
they reviewed it once and they reviewed a draft.
Yep.
Because usually it's, engineers, technical folks or what have you that are doing that. Not all in all cases, but many cases.
But we did, and
but
we checked it
that's-
twice, and I just want to know what we did wrong or what we can
So-
Avoid.
mitigate next time.
So that is not the only thing that's delaying this tonight, right? It's the
I
lack of a
understood,
DEP number,
which is also out of our control.
right? And there's also some things that I can't get into and discuss here publicly with respect to the Lucas Environmental Review that would have been talked about tonight and would have required some potentially modifications that would have led us to April 18th anyways. Right, so what I'm trying to provide you guidance on now, as frustrated as you may be, is let's try to get in front of that because you have all the information in front of you now to get those things remedied so that when we get to the 18th, we can close this potentially that evening and not continue it for yet another 3 weeks.
And other than reading Lucas Environmental's report and implementing what's indicated in there, I'm at interpretation of the report without feedback from
No, you
Conservation
can
Commission.
work with Lucas Environmental through our conservation office.
Okay.
Right, for any questions, clarity, anything that may be needed.
Okay.
And they will accommodate.
Okay.
Okay. So is that, I need to move forward and continue this to the April 18th meeting at, I believe we identified 7 PM.
So moved.
Right, is there a second?
Second,
All in favor by a roll call vote?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Upton,
yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Pasamato.
Yes. All right, thank you, folks. Okay, next up, we have notice of intent, 20 Sears Road, map 64 lot 2. Daylight of stream channel by removing existing pipe and creating a naturalized channel. In accordance with the Wetlands Protected Act, Max General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Southborough Wetlands Bylaw, the South Basin Commission will conduct a continued public hearing on Thursday, March 28th, 2024 at 7:20 PM by a virtual Zoom meeting. The commission will consider a notice of intent for a project located at 20 Sears Road, map 64 lot 2. For the applicant, William DePietri, the project description is to daylight a stream channel by removing a pipe and creating a channel within upland buffer zone.
Good evening. Scott Goddard here from Goddard Consulting. How are you all this evening?
Oh my, we haven't seen him in it for ages.
Hey, listen, I still
even
float
grew a
around
beard.
out there, Mr. Passamanto.
Wow.
So I am here tonight to represent the 20 Steer Street project. And I'm hopeful and optimistic that I think we might be at the point that this could all come to a close. So the purpose of the notice of intent, just kind of in summary, is that we have that piped stream channel through the field into the rear of 20 Sears Street that was uncovered, that not uncovered literally, but figuratively speaking, that happened during the ANRAD process. And part of the agreement on the ANRAD was to agree to daylight the stream channel that was done without approvals some years ago. So it's largely a field stream. It's basically a large grassed area, but there is a pipe there. The pipe would be coming out. We have a plan submitted. I can share should I show my screen? Would you prefer that? Does that work? Is that okay to do?
Yep, good.
Okay. All right. There's the shared screen. And if I zoom in, this is a revised site plan since the last hearing. The issue that kind of came up at the last meeting is really this property line. So there are two separate property owners. 90% of the piped stream lies on 20 Sears Road. Okay, and that was the reference in the ANRAD that was done for 20 Sears Road. And these two property owners, there might be some familial relations in play here, but they're not working together in cooperation at the moment. And the action of this application is only for 20 Sears Road. So we are recognizing that there's an additional, let's call it, 20 or 30 feet of pipe off-site, which I think that is best handled by the commission with that property owner. But in order to make it so that when that other little piece of pipe does get removed, and I'm confident that will happen through a separate conversation with that property owner, we want to make sure that the pipes where the pipe connection to the property line where the two restored stream channels will come together will match up nicely and not have infrastructure in the way, a la retaining wall, head wall, or some kind of physical structure that becomes a problem. So what we've done, tweak the plan just a little bit to show temporary vertical sheets right at the property line. It's not as dramatic as it looks. I mean, we're talking about 18 inches, maybe 24 inches of earthwork holding the slope back at the property line. It probably could sustain itself as even a little vertical cut with a machine. But just for good measure, we're proposing, and it's labeled as temporary steel road plates that would just go in on the edge and the edge, almost like a temporary wing wall to a culvert, as it were. So so the cut line is now right on the property line. We do the stream restoration on our side, 20 Sears Street. The commission presumptively will interface with the adjacent property owner, and then, voila, the stream is back intact and full. The owners of 20 Sears Street don't want to hold up proceeding with getting this stream restored and repaired, which is a good and right and appropriate project to do because of the adjacent property ownership issues. So my request would be that we close this application out, allow the stream restoration to take place, and issue an order of conditions. The expectation on our side is that this property is in transition for sale right now, and the new owners are looking forward to coming back to the commission with a new notice of intent for a house reconstruction on this property. The house that was on this property was the one that was struck by lightning maybe a year or two ago, has since been torn down and now is slated for sale, and a new house would be proposed on this lot in the immediate future following up on this. But there's really no hold up on getting the stream work done. As far as I'm concerned, that work could take place right away. So that's what I have for you tonight. I hope we can close this out and move the party forward.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question about the temporary steel road plates.
Yeah.
When you say temporary, how long would you imagine they'd be there?
They would only be there until the abutting property is required to remove that section of 30 feet of pipe as well. And then that restoration work will join with this one, and the grading. In other words, without putting something there, the grades don't match up perfectly on the lot line. So we have to do something to deal with that in the interim. So they could stay there as long as it takes, or as short as it takes. So I would hope that it could all happen within this calendar year of 2024. That would make sense.
Hey, Scott, I'm uncomfortable with the road plates. It seems it would be simpler for everybody involved just to use a little bit of riprap there, especially if it's 18 to 24 inches.
It's, honestly, Ben, that's perfectly fine. You could easily write a condition in here and say, no road plates, 1-to-1 riprap on lot line, something like that. This is a very small cut. I mean, it is literally 18, 24 inches tops. So a couple of place stones would probably get the job done. So that's a perfectly fine suggestion, Ben. I think it makes a lot of sense.
That was my only
Yeah,
concern.
I love it. I love it.
Anything from anybody else?
So if that's replaced by riprap, does the riprap remain? once the stream is restored, or?
No, well, again, same issue with the temporary steel road plates concept. It's there just as a stepping stone, as it were, to make the 18 to 24 inches of grade change happen. Something has to hold that soil in place right at the lot line. I mean, I suppose we could just cut the soil vertically, but it's kind of nice to have something holding it there. As soon as, and we submitted to the commission a letter of cooperation that the owners of 20 Sear Street agree to cooperate, whether it's a steel plate, whether it's a riprap piece of stone or a couple of stones. Those are a temporary erosion stabilization measure right at the lot line. And once the adjacent property removes the pipe, then we meaning whoever the owner is of 20 Sear Street, agrees to cooperate for the removal of those stones or plates or whatever it is we agree on. But we've taken the wing wall, head wall concept off the plan altogether.
We can condition that also in our approval. We can simply make a condition that when the upstream pipe removal takes place, the owner of 20 will remove riprap and perform any minor restoration necessary to connect the two channels.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we want too. We're just trying to, it's just a little bit of a logistical issue, but 100% that's what we want to do.
So it's really to, complete an appropriate interface at the lot line for the pipe removal in the channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems reasonable. Yeah, I'm with Ben. I like, riprap or more natural
Mhm.
Splash pad than plates.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So any comments from anybody else? Lucas, do you have any comments?
I think all of our previous comments have been adequately addressed, and I do like the I thought the plates were an interesting option for using along the lot line, but I think the riprap is probably a better option.
Yep, perfect.
Okay, with that, I see no reason to
Mark,
keep the hearing. Yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
I have Bob Moss has his hand up if you want to allow him to talk.
Sure, just a second. I was just going to make a comment that
Oh, sure.
given that, I'm not sure there's anything outstanding with respect to this at this point. So with that, if there's any comments from the public, we'll entertain those now.
Bob, you should be able to talk.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. Good evening. I'm Bob Moss. I'm working on behalf of the buyers of the lot. And just in a 30-second history of the buyers, myself and the buyer were two partners, and we built the Madison Place Apartments. And we have a lot of experience in town, one of the largest projects ever built with the Conservation Commission. And the two of us as partners, successfully permitted, built it, and finished that project. So the buyer of this lot and his wife are the form of my partner up at Madison Place. And the only reason I'm saying that is we have extensive experience with wetland issues. And that was a very difficult project, and we did it without any problem. So my buyers are extremely anxious to get going on this project. And they have made an arrangement with the seller. The sellers are Robert and Louise DePietri, and they were in the mid 80s. And the only contingency the buyers had was that this pipe removal project would get an order of conditions. And originally the seller was going to remove the pipe, but we thought that's not practical. So a legal agreement has been made between the buyer and the seller that the new buyers will actually be responsible for the construction work. and I am helping my partner and friend with the permitting and any of this type of work. So we have a quote to construct a swale in accordance with the plans. And again, the only contingency was we get an order of conditions to remove the pipe, because my buyer friends didn't want to get dragged into some legal problem, you know, particularly when we knew there was an issue with the other lot next door. That being said, if you vote tonight to issue an order of conditions for this pipe removal project, my friends will be closing on the lot within the next week. And they're not worried. They're not worried about appeal period on this particular pipe removal. That shouldn't harm anybody. And also, it should be. I just want to disclose that they've also prepared their notice of intent for the construction of the house to be built here, where the old house was. So our intention is that if you vote tonight to issue an order of conditions for the removal of this pipe, they're going to close within a week or week to 10 days and own the property. But also, we're going to file on Monday, April 1st, next Monday, the notice of intent for the house. Okay, so that's how fast we want to keep this moving. And then they will actually, when you have the meeting on the 18th for the house hearing, they will now be the owners of the property. And they will be responsible for building this swale. Their intention is to get the swale built as fast as possible. They feel like this has been a really nuisance in the permitting process, and they just want to get it done and satisfy the town and the Conservation Commission. So from a practical standpoint, since this involves grass growing and to some extent a little bit of running water, we can't do this till probably the second half of May, I'm sorry, you know, when grass starts growing well. It's too early April, you know, you can hydroseed it, but it's not going to grow. So that being said, they intend to get the work done as soon as the conditions permit, which is usually the second half of May. And when you get to their house hearing on the 18th, they have no problem putting a timetable, because as you know, you could actually issue an order of conditions to put the pipe, but that doesn't necessarily get the pipe out. These people want to get going on their house and they're going to own the property. So they wouldn't be adverse to actually putting a timeline for getting this pipe removal project done, which might give you one up on what the situation is tonight. So if, you know, I'll use an example, you could condition on the pipe removal project be completed by June 15th or something like that. So they just want to get it done. The sellers had a very difficult time with the fire and lost all their possessions. They're in their 80s. They want to get the lot sold. The buyers want to get their new retirement house under construction, and both parties want to get you satisfied and get this pipe project done. So I watched the meeting a couple of weeks ago, was a little distressed, but now I'm very happy with the way this thing seems to go on tonight. And I thank you for all your attention and your volunteering.
Okay, so we close the hearing, we issue a order of conditions for the pipe removal. And that applicant is William DePietri. Right? And so once we do that, the deed is now burdened with that order of conditions. And the intent is to sell this property in the next week to 10 days to a new buyer. But the deed will be burdened. So likely we'll be asked to get involved with that to some extent as a result of the order of conditions being outstanding on this lot. That's to be sold, purchased. And then shortly thereafter, there'll be a notice of intent for the construction of a house on the same lot that has an open order of conditions for the pipe removal. Mr. Smith, are you following me?
I am. I think, so the thing that's jumping to my mind is a situation we run into on subdivisions where we have an individual notice of intent, order of conditions for each lot, and then an overall one for the subdivision where you have, you know, two orders of conditions that in a way will affect each individual lot. I think I can see a way to work through this. I think it is needlessly complicated, but if this is what the applicant wants, I think we can work through it. I think a much more clean way of doing it, frankly, is I think you know, the commission, if it were a straw poll at this point, would indicate that this is a perfectly acceptable proposal. If an NOI is going to be submitted on Monday, if this work were simply wrapped into that, it seems like it'd be a much cleaner permitting process. However, if the applicants really desire to go down this road, we'll simply have to keep track of what work is covered under which order, and then sort that out again when we're doing a certificate of completion for each of the orders.
And another way that and it's up to the commission how they want to do it administratively. Another option that I've seen done in situations like this could be, you know, we proceed with the order of conditions for the stream restoration, because that is what's the contingent piece of the whole sale. But when we do come before you with the house, something that could happen if it cleans up your files a little bit better is when you do issue presumptively an order of conditions for the new house, at the same time, we could withdraw or close out the old order as work not completed, and at that time roll it into the new permit. That has the same effect, and it just closes one permit out too. But I don't think that decision has to be made now. For now, I think that the focus is just let's get the order going on the stream, and I think Bob did a good job outlining the path that we're going to be, you know, before you very quickly, you know, with the next phase of this thing. So, but the administration piece of it can be whatever.
This is just a new situation for us, because it's people come to us in a mad scramble. There's an open order on the property. We need to get this closed out right now. We've never had somebody come to us right before a sale and say, please, put an order of conditions on this property.
Yeah, so it's exactly.
A new situation. But if that's how the applicant wants to move forward, I think there's a path through.
Hey, Ben, leave it to me to bring you the unique example.
Thank you. I think I heard that the new owner, which will be applying for a notice of intent for the house, is also going to be responsible for, you know, taking care of the removal of the pipe and the swale and so forth, restoring the stream channel. If they are going to be responsible for that, Scott, I like your proposal from an administrative point of view. It just keeps things clean. So, you know, if you know, issuing order conditions now, you know, sort of clears the air so that the buyer can buy the property because they understand that there's path forward. Okay, fine. But if they're going to be doing the work with a new filing coming in, I would prefer, I guess, wrapping the removal of the pipe and the restoration of the channel with that NOI. Me personally, I think administrative, it just makes it easier and simpler. I mean, that way we're not going to get entwined with some of the issues that we had with Ken's Foods, with all these active order conditions and trying to track them, and you know, it becomes very difficult.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, I had to say my piece around that. So with that, does anybody else have any concerns, issues here with moving forward the order conditions for 20 Sears Road? Nope. Okay.
Let's see, we have a hand up, Mr. Moss. Again.
Oh, we do now. Okay. I looked a second ago. I didn't see it.
Can you
mute? Yes.
Yeah, Mark, I was speaking for the buyers, and they would do exactly what you're suggesting. They want the comfort of knowing that they have an order of conditions to get this pipe removal satisfied and meet the ORAD requirements, but they'd be happy to roll the work into their new order for their house. So if tonight you can issue this new order, this particular order for the pipe removal, because this is really the seller's application here. So we can't do it tonight. Okay.
Yeah, so exactly.
The sellers need to get their order because they're the ones who applied for it. But we'd be happy to roll the work requirements and any other legalities of the file numbers and things, whatever it needs to be done, into the order for the house. No problem there. That's it.
Yeah. Yep. Understand. Yep. I think that's the path forward.
All set.
So with that said, do I hear a motion for a order of conditions for 20 Sears Road?
Do we have to close the public hearing first, or
Say what, Kevin?
do we have to close the public hearing first, or is that?
Oh, I guess we do. All right, do I hear a motion to close the hearing?
So
So
moved.
There's a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Smith,
yes.
Palmato.
Yes. All right, I suppose that we could probably just take care of this right now and vote on issuing an order of conditions for 20 Sears Road. Proposed would be the standard special conditions. And I don't think we had any additional findings other than, the removal of the steel plates in place of that, putting riprap. Was there anything else?
I don't think so.
No. All right, if I,
Action on restoration of the channel once,
Oh,
yeah,
thank you, Kevin. Yeah, Kevin's right. Condition that upon completion of the restoration of the upstream portion of the water course, the removal of the pipe, restoration of the water course, the owners of 20 Sears Road will remove riprap and perform any restoration needed on their side of the property line.
okay, do I hear a motion with that added narrative?
So moved.
Is there a second?
second,
All in favor?
Zulik,
Yes.
Barrington,
yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Palmato.
Yes.
Good. Well, thank you all and have a good night. One more point of administration I thought of too is we're preparing right now the notice of intent for the house. And what I'll do is I'll include that with the work of the stream restoration again in that package. And it will specify the rock versus the steel plates. So that will disappear too. So thank you all and have a good night.
All right. Yep. Thank you. Bye. All right. See, next up is new and our continued business. Expanding important farmland soils in Southborough. IMDAR and American Farmland Trust. So I did read Melissa's comments with respect to this. And it basically looks like they're looking for the Conservation Commission's support of importance or significant of this. Anybody want to have any additional discussion around that or thoughts?
It sounded like Melissa thought this was a really good idea and a good thing to do based on the research she had done for it.
Yeah, I guess it's unclear as to how it would impact our Southborough inclusive farmlands or growing lands, if you will, because we don't really have a map of those. But I guess in general, I agree, Melinda, that it would be something that would be something that we would want to endorse. I think basically he's looking for, the commission's, a vote on, endorsing that so that a letter could be authored to be sent off.
Would you like a motion?
Sure.
I move that we authorize Melissa to sign on behalf of the commission our recognition of the importance of farmland soils.
Sounds great. Do I hear a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Zulek,
Yes, yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Upton,
yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Passamata.
Yes. All right, next up is 200 Southville Road, potential violation. I did look at the aerials for that. I have not gone by there. Recently, I have gone by there many times in the past. And I think what we probably want to do is just, you know, put them on notice that there may be a violation that they need to be aware of. That, you know, that's violation of the Wetlands Protection Act and the Southfield Wetlands Bylaw. And we invite them to attend our next meeting to defend as such.
Yeah, looking at the pictures Melissa took from the adjoining property, it looks like there's some fill that goes certainly into the 20-foot no touch, just by looking at the pictures, it appears anyway.
And by looking at the pictures over the, you know, various snapshots of time over years,
Oh, yeah.
it's definitely expanded.
Yeah.
Right, the access down through and out towards the back is probably doubled, if not tripled.
It looks that way.
So looks like bringing more in and less out.
So we'll try with just an invite to a meeting rather than going right to an enforcement order, try to take the friendly route, sit down.
Yeah, and you know, try to understand what's going on, what's been happening over the last, you know, 10 to 15 years.
Have they ever
And-
been told that they couldn't do this? And is this going to be a surprise to them?
I'm not sure. I mean,
Mark, if I may, there's, so there's a long history with this property that stems back, I think, decades, various violations. And this most recent one is also in partnership with a Board of Health potential violation and also a potential zoning violation. So I believe Board of Health, Liz, correct me if I'm wrong, Board of Health is going to be discussing this next week.
Yeah, Tuesday night, we have a special hearing, I think.
Okay. So, but there's a
We've had
long
many
history.
discussions on that already. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's a long history of violations here. So I don't think it'll be a surprise.
oh, so I was unaware. So given that, are we just being cordial and inviting them to our meeting, or are we believe that we have enforcement actions here and, you know, the letter should be a little bit more stern?
Honestly, I'm still in favor of the friendly approach, and if it's not well received, we always have the opportunity to issue an enforcement order.
Yep, I think start with the invitation to the next meeting and go from there.
So the Board of Health has a meeting next week,
Yep, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Lara, could we request the Board of Health maybe provide us with some minutes to that meeting, or, you know, any sort of an outcome that
Sure.
we might have in our back
We'll
pocket?
provide an update on that. I don't know what the rules are of crossover, but I don't see why I can't do that.
Me either. That's why I asked Lara.
No, I can always ask Heather too, if she can just kind of send a
Yeah.
summary, if that's easier.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
It's a select board, or the select board is meeting with the Board of Health on it on Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, we could just have some comment, you know, some context for what they're talking about. Would be good.
Yeah, it's a different series of violations that we're looking at on the Board of Health side.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's an illegal mobile home on premise with people living in it.
Mhm.
And improper water and waste disposal, electricity, etc. versus I think the issues that we're talking about in the backyard here.
Oh, you can't live in your camper in your yard?
Not in Southborough.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to throw the people out of my camper. No, I'm like,
I can picture some potential crossover with the adjacency to the wetlands and, you know, this is just supposition here, but if there's some casual waste disposal, I could picture some crossover with some wetlands concern.
all right. All right, so we'll invite them into the meeting on 4/18. All right, other business before the commission. So update on open and active sites. All seems well, even given all the rain that we've had. And we'll have overnight tonight into tomorrow as well. 200 Turnpike Contractors Yard. Let's see, it looks like they have outstanding planning board pre-construction requirements that are outstanding. So trying to just look at this quickly here. So they cleared trees, expanded impervious area, and look like the infrastructure might not be completed. So that probably requires a follow-up visit, probably when Melissa gets back from her vacation. All right, Breakneck Hill Farm Dump progress. So they started. They started with some tree removal, erosion controls, etc. So work has started. So that's good news. The other update here is a notice of intent to sell Northborough Road parcels. So it looks like the town has expressed some interest in purchasing their properties for affordable housing and or open space. But the cost is over 4 million, and they may need to find a funding mechanism to find out if that would be feasible or not. In terms of its conservation value being adjacent to 495, and the stream is on the southern parcel behind that home, leading down to where the aqueduct is. I'm not sure it has much value in terms of conservation for recreation purposes and that sort of thing. It has high tension wires that go through the northern part of it, leading from the Northborough power station. So I guess that's just an update. I know Ben from the I'm drawing a blank now.
CPC.
CPC, thank you.
Yeah.
Have they talked about this at all?
We've talked about it briefly. We're looking into what we have available for funding, what we have available for bonding capacity. There's been a big push in town. First, I should say I'm the commission's representative on community preservation. I should probably report in more than once every 3 or 4 years. We've been trying really hard, working with Affordable Housing Trust Fund Committee and SHOPSI to try to get a project off the ground. This looks like there is some potential there for maybe a great project. I know the alternative is the potential purchaser right now is looking to put in a solar farm, as I understand it, probably because of the adjacency of the high tension lines and the substation right next door. So we're also apparently it's being explored whether they could carve off perhaps a chunk of the property to be purchased by the town to use for affordable housing there and have that and a solar farm. I think all these options are being explored.
All right, thank you. Let's see. And then we have the St. Mark's stormwater impacts. So the good news there is they did some inspection, they opened the manhole cover, and lo and behold, there's no connection to the town stormwater system. So therefore the the glass of water got filled up and poured out the top. So they're now moving forward with making that connection. So on this past Monday, they cut the opening in the existing pipe and installed a concrete invert. So they're making progress on that. And boy, I do thank the neighbors and homeowners for bringing that forward to us. I'm not sure what would happen if that just, went, unnoticed and silent.
That's a great solution.
Yeah, hook up the pipes that are supposed to be hooked up. Go figure, right? So. Okay, with that, is there any other business before us tonight? I don't think so. Lara, we cover everything?
I think you got it all.
All right, thank you. Great job for filling in. You had a tough week, I understand, but thank you very much.
Part of the job, right?
Thank you,
So-
Lara.
Okay, so with that, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Gulick,
Yes.
Barrington,
Yes.
Upton,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Cosmato.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you all.
Fun.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Stay dry.
Go.